So, Manchester United are looking pretty good during this preseason. Now, of course, you should not read too much into preseason results. They usually do not translate well into competitive campaigns. But I still think that there are a lot of interesting things to observe in these preseason games. New ideas, new patterns of play, new habits. So, in this video, I'm going to analyze two sequences. These sequences are the Rashford goal against Crystal Palace and the Sancho goal against Crystal Palace as well. The reason why I chose these two sequences is because both of them are actually mirrors of one another. And also both of them start from the penalty area and end in goals. So both of them show that Manchester United under Erik Ten Hag have a method to the madness. They have a method to how they play football. And so I think that there are some really interesting things that we can observe from these sequences. So let's start with the Sancho goal and then let's move to the Rashford goal. See you soon. Okay, so the first sequence starts with Victor Lindelof in the penalty area. Now, of course, the most obvious target for him is Harry Maguire, but of course, for reasons that you and I know very well, he doesn't make that choice. So let's see what kind of choice he actually decides to make. Now, okay, now, so did you see what Fred actually did? Here, let me put it back a little bit. Okay, so as you can see here, Fred, who is being marked out of play by the Crystal Palace player, plays cat and mouse with his marker. So basically he moves slightly to the left before jumping to the right to make himself available. And this is such an underrated move because Scott McTominay and Fred, two players that I actually like, their biggest weakness is that they don't do enough of this. Make yourself available to receive the ball. That's what a midfielder for a top team needs to do. And in the game against Aston Villa, so when you watch our game against Aston Villa, please make sure to observe Fred and McTominay because they do a lot of this. I see them do it against Liverpool, against Melbourne, and of course against Crystal Palace. So anyway, Fred gets the ball. Let's see what he does. So of course he goes straight and then passes it to the left. Now already, as you can see here, Crystal Palace, look at so many players who are simply taken out of the game. Their front three players are gone, then midfielders are gone, and then you can see that. Look at the player who is chasing Bruno Fernandes. That's Joaquin Henderson, right? That's their center back right there. Look how pulled he is out of position because simply he has no choice. They need to press high, and the Manchester United players are just moving in such an efficient way that it's dragging the Crystal Palace players out of position. Now, of course, it's Rashford and Bruno Fernandes on the left. Please keep this in mind because in the second sequence that I'm going to show you, the same exact thing is going to happen twice in the same game. Now, the moment Rashford has the ball, as you can see, eight outfield Crystal Palace players are simply taken out of the game. Now it's just Jadon Sancho with Martial against Ward and Mitchell, the left-sided center back and the left back from Crystal Palace. Of course, this is a mismatch for them. So Rashford plays the ball. And then, of course, Martial through ball to Jadon Sancho, who is through on goal. Now, again, here, Ward clearly shows that he's not the best defender, that he's not a natural center back, because here I think the best choice for him would have been to just play the offside trap. But anyway, so Jadon Sancho goes through and scores. Now, what I like about this sequence, of course, is the fact that we are beating we are counter-pressing and we are beating the press, the trap that Crystal Palace were pull on us, but also that it resulted in a goal because we are moving in such an efficient manner that it's dragging the Crystal Palace players out of positions and it's creating a lot of space for the Manchester United players. Now, let me show you the second sequence. The second sequence is actually the exact same sequence. It's the same problem, again, being pressed by Crystal Palace, but we found another solution to the same problem. And it also led to the same pattern and then eventually to a goal. All right, so this is the second sequence. Now, again, David De Gea has the ball. But now, as you can see, playing a short ball is not really a good option for him. Again, we are being pressed by the Crystal Palace players. But also, you can see that our defense is not positioned well. That's because the Manchester United players were retreating at this point. So, as you can see, Lindelof is not back in position. Maguire is not back in position. Dalot is not back in position. So, David De Gea has a problem. He needs to go long. But then again, where does he go long? Please observe. So he goes long again to the left-hand side. And of course, as you probably guessed it, who's in there? Of course, Bruno Fernandes and Rashford. And again, same pattern. Nathaniel Klein and Joaquin Anderson are both dragged out of positions because they are the only two players who can deal with Rashford and Bruno Fernandes, because their right winger is actually pushing really high to press our defenders and our goalkeeper. So again, Rashford and Bruno Fernandes connecting together. Now look at the bottom of the screen. Of course, Fred and Victor Lindelof also moving into that defensive midfield position, making themselves available for Bruno Fernandes so that he doesn't necessarily have to play the long ball. He can play it safe and just keep the ball if needed. But of course, it's Bruno Fernandes. Mr. Hollywood pass is, of course, gonna do a Hollywood pass in the direction of Anthony Martial. So there goes Bruno Fernandes towards Martial. And of course, as you can see, same story as in the first goal. The ball goes to the left-hand side where Rashford and Bruno Fernandes are waiting. The first time it was Rashford, this time it's Bruno Fernandes. And then again, numerical advantage over Crystal Palace. It's again Mitchell and Ward against Rashford, Martial, Sancho, and of course, Donny van de Beek. And so this is definitely unfair on the Crystal Palace players. Sancho gets the ball, through ball to Anthony Martial, and here of course Donny van de Beek, great movement, great team player to Rashford, and of course the goal. So what is really interesting to me about these patterns of play, again, like I said, I'm not worried about the results, but look, both goals, Sancho's goal and Marcus Rashford's goal, both started the same way, from the penalty area, being pressed by Crystal Palace. So the first thing we did is that we beat the press using two different ways. The first one is, of course, playing a short pass to Fred, who found the space and ran away from his marker. And the second one is David De Gea playing a long chipped ball, a pass, not a clearance, to the left-hand side. Both Fred and David De Gea both went to the left-hand side, where Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes were waiting, and where every time they were facing the same defenders from Crystal Palace. This shows method, guys. So please do not get optimistic about the next season because of the results. Get optimistic because of things like this, because clearly Erik Ten Hag is working with these players and clearly they are getting the message. And of course, in the league, most of the teams, Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool, Brighton, Manchester City, all pressed this way, including Crystal Palace as well, with 3 forwards, 3 midfielders. And so Erik Ten Hag, right now, he's literally practicing how to beat the press against those big teams, which is most of the tough teams in the league, let's be honest, okay? And also, please bear in mind that now we have Lisandro Martinez, who's going to be on that left center-back position as well, and potentially Frankie de Jong, Eriksen as well, who potentially could drop deep to participate in the build-up play. So yes, exciting time. This is amazing. It shows that Erik Ten Hag's ideas are great and that the players are buying into those ideas and applying them on the football pitch. So what do you guys think about this? Please leave a comment in the comment section below, and cheers.